Welcome to this special 2014 BSCAI Convention ISSA Trade Show Tripodcast. Our special guest today is Christi Rohomer, who is a senior associate with Gary Penrod and Associates. So, Christi, I want to welcome you to our Tripodcast.
Great. Thank you, Richard. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we have known Gary Penrod and Associates forever, and they've been an outstanding member of BSCAI, and Gary has been a past president of BSCAI and a strong supporter. And I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking with you a little bit and get a little of your background. I know that you've joined the Gary Penrod Associates, and as a senior associate. And if you can just give us a little of your background, and then what your position is, and a little bit of the services that Penrod and Associates provides for its member, or for the industry, I should say.
I'm a CPA, actually. I have an accounting background. I started out my career at Ernst & Young before going into industry, and I joined Sanators in 1999 as a M&A analyst, just when they were starting their acquisition program, and became CFO in 2002 and acted in that capacity until 2012. And when I started at Sanators, they were about $45 million in revenue, and when I left in 2012, they were at just right about $700 million in revenue.
So they grew a slight amount each year, right?
A little bit, right. It was through both acquisition and organic growth. But yeah, through that time we acquired, I think, just almost 30 companies, ranging in size anywhere from $4 million in revenue to $100 million in revenue. One company was our largest. And we sold ourselves twice as well during that time, once to another private equity firm, and then in 2007 we sold to ISS and then took their name. So, and during that time also, I did help to start up the Hewlett-Packard contract. It's the largest contract ever let in the facility service industry.
Wow.
We provided 38 services across 150 locations across North America. So there were no holiday vacations that year, but it was certainly a great experience.
That is true. And a few sleepless nights as well, right?
Yes. So, but it was an exciting project to be part of, and certainly learned a lot from that. But during that time is when I met Gary. Gary brought us some of the companies that we acquired during that time period, and I just loved the M&A work, and I'm very excited to be able to work with him in that capacity.
Well, I would guess then that with the track record that you had with Sanators, that you certainly have an experience that you have the experience to be in the M&A segment of our industry, don't you?
I do, and I think I'm really lucky to have that because that work is very interesting to me. I love working with companies. At GPA, we predominantly work for sellers. We'll work for buyers, but we usually work for a seller. And I really enjoy, meeting new people, finding out about their company, and helping them position their company, put their company in the best position to get the best value when they are ready to sell. So we actually like to start working with companies, well before they're kind of, we're ready to sell right now, because there's several factors that influence value, and we like to kind of rate the company against those and show the owners, how if they improve some things, how they can really help their company to appreciate in value. And that's always fun to be able to do, to help them to do that.
And I guess one of the things that if we can get that message across as well, that when somebody just lost their biggest account or just lost their director of operations, is not the time to come to you and say, I want to sell next week. There really is some preparation work, isn't there, to getting your company in a position to sell at the best value.
There really is, at the best value. I mean, we can, almost always sell a company, but if they want to get the best value, then they might need to make some changes and to wait a bit. And that's what we like to work with them on, is to be able to point out the areas where they can make improvements that are really, really key to buyers and add a lot of value in the buyer's eyes. And, no company is going to be completely perfect, so it's not like we have to wait till we're perfect to go sell, because that will never happen. But, certainly there are things, such as, customer mix, customer concentration, margins, growth. If they've been growing, it's always better than if they've been flat. And that's really key. That's something people don't always understand, is that the multiple is based on applied growth. And if you've been growing in the past, it's always a better indicator that you can grow in the future. So, like I said, those factors are very helpful in increasing the value. But no company is going to be perfect, so they don't need to wait until they're perfect to sell.
Well, I can understand that. Now we've also interviewed Gary Penrod for a session that he's going to be or he's highlighted at the convention called "The Company's Value: Knowing for Certain That It's Correct." Now, as I understand, Gary, you're going to be an integral part of that presentation, aren't you? You're going to be assisting him.
Yes,
with
I'll
that
be there
presentation.
with Gary.
So our audience will have an opportunity to also meet you at that session, I presume, if they want to talk with you. And I guess that if somebody came to you at the convention and said, I'd really like to talk to you about making an acquisition or maybe selling my company, you would not be adverse to talking with them, would you?
Most certainly not. No, we would love to talk with people about that. We'll be at the convention. We're presenting, I think, on the Friday, November 7th, I believe at 3 o'clock.
I think that's right. Yeah, it's actually I'm looking. Yeah, it's on. It is on Friday. I don't have the time right in front of me, but I know that it's on Friday. So I would encourage our audience to come to that session because it's. And as I recall, you're going to have actually some actual case studies at that session as well, right? I mean,
we are. We're going to. I'm sorry. We're going to have a company, like at least an example company, and we're going to give the audience information on a company on some of the key factors that affect value, and we'll ask them to participate in actually coming up with how they would value the company.
Excellent. That's going to be a great session. Yeah.
Yes. So hopefully it'll be interactive, and in that way, have a lot of participation and input, and really hope that people can understand, what is important to increasing the value of their company. It's not just taking your profit and multiplying it by a number. It's what really influences the multiple and influences the value of a company.
So it's really going to be kind of an interactive session that you and Gary are going to be doing. That you'll want some feedback from people. It won't be just a lecture type. You'll actually want some feedback from the audience, then, won't you?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Well, Christi, I really want to thank you for getting on with us today and giving us a little of your background. Certainly, I don't think there's any question after listening to the growth that your company had and I think you said, 30 acquisitions that your company had when you were with them? And then now having the opportunity to assist companies to make acquisitions or to make, to sell their own. I think we can say with full confidence that with Gary's background, Gary Penrod's background, and your background, that BSCs can come and talk with you with full confidence that you all know what you're doing, and you can give them the advice that is needed for them to get the best bang for their buck, so to speak. So I do want to thank you so much for coming on and visiting with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Now, I want to remind our audience that the ISSA Trade Show is Wednesday through Friday, November 5th to the 7th, and the BSCAI educational sessions will be on Thursday through Saturday, November 6th to 8th at the Hilton Orlando. And as Christi mentioned, she'll be on November the 5th along with Gary Penrod. So, and then for those of you that are wanting to attend the bidding and estimating seminar or the CBSE, RBSM exams, they take place on Wednesday, November the 5th. And you can register at bscai.org, click on the registration icon, and as a special for Tripodcast listeners, whether you're a BSCAI member or not, you're going to get the early bird registration rate. And same way for the bidding and estimating seminar, you'll get the early bird registration rate. Doesn't make any difference when you register or whether you're a BSCAI member. If you are a Tripodcast listener, you will get the special rate. And all you need to do is enter the code T as in Tom, S as in Sam, and D as in David on your registration blank, and it'll automatically kick in the reduced rate. So I want to thank Christi Rohomer for being our guest today, and I certainly want to thank also our listeners for tuning in today. We'll see all of you in Orlando, hopefully, in November.